So I'll tell you a little bit about my past life that I've just discovered and I had no clue about till I had an emergency happen where I was sent to the hospital for anaphylactic shock. My body went into shock. I was got into a pool in the morning in the pool, an aquatic class, and I was all excited to be there. It's never happened before since I love swimming. I love being in the water. And when I got in, all of a sudden my body, I noticed that my arms, both arms were starting to welt up with like hives, like, red blotches and bumped, skin that's raised and just like everywhere, like I was just pockmarked. And so as that was happening, the lights were there was lights just becoming brighter. And at the moment I didn't realize my body was going into allergic reaction, a shock. And by the time I figured something was wrong, I started trying to get out of the water and I barely made it out. But the instructor must have noticed, because all of a sudden, I'm not sure what exactly happened, because the next thing I knew, they were trying to keep me from losing consciousness, and I was drooling, and I didn't, at that point, I was not there anymore. And so the ambulance came and rushed me to the hospital, and it turned out that they couldn't figure out, what I was allergic to, but that I did, they brought me back. And so I was to find an allergist, and well, here in Sedona, there really aren't any allergists here, that I had to look for one outside of Sedona where I live. And so I searched in Phoenix, and so the next one wasn't really available till, months down the road. Others were booked, 7-8 months, down the road. And I needed to know as soon as possible, what was going on with me, even though I'm psychic and, spiritually connected, I can get information. I still have to go through my own path, my own journey here on this earth as well. I'm also human, just like everybody else. And so what I ended up learning, I got lucky, and I know my angels were helping with this situation as well, because there was really no one I could get in to see as soon as possible. And I had a booked trip to Gateway, Colorado for the retreat at the Gateway, Colorado Resort and Spa, Gateway Canyon. And so everything was already booked. I was already committed. And, here I had this weird allergy that just almost took my life, that I had no clue, what was going on. The only clue I had, which I've had since I was a little girl, was that I had a, what do you call it? I didn't even know it was a thing. Is when my arms, if I leaned on a cabinet, or, if I held a purse in my arm, like carry bags or anything, they would welt up, turn red, welt up, that kind of thing, and get really ugly. And so I never thought it was life-threatening. So when I go, finally, I get a call from one allergist in Tucson, Arizona, so that's like 4 hours away from here. And I had to go down there to stay the night, but she squeezed me in like in a week. So of course I said yes, and I took, the appointment, because I needed to get checked and find out, what happened to me. So I get there. Meanwhile, I don't know if I'm, terrified now of the pool. I'm scared of everything. Like, what's happening? And, what is this? Was it the chlorine in the water? Was it the mineral oil I had started using? I didn't know. And so I suspected it was something like that. So meanwhile, here, I end up at the appointment and they ask all kinds of questions, these allergists, and then they decide to do a test with a cold pack, some ice pack, some sort, I forgot, I think they called it a cold test. And so they suspected I was some sort of something allergy. And so they put it on my wrist, and the little scar is going away now, but they put it on me, and it's supposed to be on there for 5 minutes while it gets your skin really cold. I don't know what kind of cold, but I know it's not dry ice, but it was really cold. And so it's timed, it's on there for 5 minutes. And as soon as the 5 minutes is up, they're supposed to take it off and to see if you react. And sure enough, As soon as he took it off, or it came off, I welted up immediately. I can probably show you a picture of that. And so it was like, they were like bewilderment, like, whoa, she's really, she's really reacting. So it turns out that I have a rare allergy called urticaria. Urticaria. I had never even heard of it. So, for example, if those people that are doing the cold plunges, polar plunges, that's something I cannot do. No, that would not work for me. So, I have to carry an EpiPen now for just in case. So what it means is that I'm allergic to surfaces, cold, temperature, my core temperature, cold places, so I have to be just extra careful, really what it boils down to. And well, being, who I am, an intuitive guide and holistic healer, I've had to find out, I want to get rid of this. I want to find a way to, get it to go away. And I love swimming, so I wanted to get back into swimming as well. So here is what I learned, that it had to do with a past life. And it kind of made sense a little bit, because with the past life, that I had that's related to this allergy, we can have all kinds of phantom, symptoms for this or that. And, I knew already that those kinds of things are related to past lives. So this is what I found out about me, was that back in another past life, sometime in the 1800s, the North Atlantic, I guess I lived near it, but apparently there's 2 lifetimes that I died of hypothermia. And so I wanted to dig a little deeper on one particular life, and pretty deep insight to find out what happened there, because in that particular lifetime, apparently I was walking home, and the storm came, some storm. And so I was basically buried alive, and people just thought I disappeared, and I wasn't discovered until, the ice melted. So I, died that way. Meanwhile, what I'm finding out about this is that as I'm getting more curious, I'm thinking, well, I need to go deeper to find out what this lifetime was about. Well, it's related to my current lifetime of, as well, in a sense that what I was doing back then was, I don't want to say self-sacrificing myself, but in a lot of ways I was. Sometimes we make decisions that we're thinking are for the best for other people that we want to do, and it's not really the best for us. And so I've had a tendency to repeat those patterns in this lifetime, that I've actually gotten better at abiding by my self-care, in a sense. So so this brought it home in a sense too, because what happened with this was that in that particular lifetime, the husband I was with was cheating on me, and was already having an affair, full blown out affair with another woman, and I still wanted to stay with him. And so the decision that I made was, rather, I could have avoided that whole death scene that I went through if I had chosen what was better for me. But I didn't. I chose what was better for him. And basically I was left abandoned, and that's how I ended up walking home alone in the storm and dying. While he, thought, okay, she's gone, and went on his merry way with his new wife. So that's been kind of a tearjerker for me. So there's healing involved. So the hypnotherapy is also very good for healing as well. Not only to discover, your past lives, but to heal them, which is really, really important. So I've been kind of, I think I did heal myself simply because I've not been reacting like I normally do, which is great. And so I can't really fully test it just yet, but I'm gonna, as I sense that I'm more ready, that I'm not reacting. What happens when you have to re-witness a lot of times the past life. When you do that, you get some sort of understanding of how that's related to your life now. You get a sort of understanding of when you see it. So, and once you have the understanding, that's really the catalyst for the healing, is just being able to re-witness, what happened and how that relates to where you're at now. And so